He's the former president and publisher of the Sun Herald, and now he's on the radio. Welcome to Coast View with Ricky Mathews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome to Coast View, the show that celebrates the men and women who are making coastal Mississippi such a great place to live, work, and play. And I really appreciate you joining us every morning. As I continue to share, the numbers on the show continue to do extraordinarily well. People are engaging in this conversation around celebrating coastal Mississippi. It's really an honor to have this opportunity to share with you so many really amazing leaders here in coastal Mississippi who are making a difference. And we'll talk to a few characters along the way as well. You know, we talk about goal setting from time to time, a lot of time as it relates to the community, but we also learn from our guests all kinds of anecdotes that we can use in our lives to help make goal setting and maybe achieving goals easier for ourselves. There's a lot of best practices that we share, but you know, it's always important to set goals for yourself, for the community. That's always important. But once you set the goal, a friend here at SuperTalk Mississippi Media, Glenn Matina Jr., posted this on Facebook not long ago, and I thought it was terrific, and it really applies well to this part of the conversation. Don't think about what can happen in a month. Don't think about what can happen in a year. Just focus on the 24 hours in front of you and do what you can to get closer to what you want to be. I just think that's really great advice. And that's what this show, Coast View, is all about. It's about helping you and our community raise the bar. I have this strong belief, as I express on a regular basis, that people with passion can change our world here in coastal Mississippi for the better. One of those people we talked to last week, John Hairston, the CEO of Hancock Whitney. We had a great conversation just talking about a wide range of topics, especially the excellent job that Mississippi has done to bring ourselves back from the sort of the brinks of the pandemic. And we really did bounce back, and our future is really brighter than most states as we go forward. You can see that conversation, incidentally, at the SuperTalk Gulf Coast Facebook page, the SuperTalk Mississippi Facebook page, the SuperTalk Mississippi YouTube page. You can go to supertalk.fm to see it, and any of your favorite podcasts. We try to be there wherever, whenever you want to engage in Coast View. And now I'm happy to have another coast leader who believes deep in his heart that people with passion can change our world in coastal Mississippi for the better. He's the chairman, president, and CEO of Mississippi Power Company, and a good friend of mine, Anthony Wilson. How are you doing, Anthony?
I'm doing great, Ricky. It's good to be back with you.
You do believe that. And what I enjoy about connecting with you is that we share something. You grew up in D'Iberville and became the president and CEO of Mississippi Power. I grew up in Gulfport and became the president and publisher of the Sun Herald. That reality, to grow up in the community and then go to work for an organization that is so focused on improving the community, that was something that excited me every single day. And it's something I'm sure that when you wake up in the morning, you probably think, man, what a gift to be able to do this.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You just never think in your career that, you start off wherever you start off early on, entry level, and you work hard. It's kind of like what you were saying earlier. You work hard every single day. You don't necessarily think about a year or 10 years away. You're just trying to do a good job on that day, and then fate smiles, and you have an opportunity to come back home and make a difference here, and to be with such a great company. Mississippi Power has been a big part of this state for right at 100 years, and come back here and work with friends like you and many others. It's fantastic.
It's really an honor for people. So right off the bat, you grew up in D'Iberville. You had the opportunity to work your way up in the company, and here you are today. When the pandemic hits, you're not just the chairman of the Gulf Coast Business Council, but you're the incoming chairman of the MEC, the Mississippi Economic Council. And man, you look back on this year. Of course, you were also involved in the Restart Mississippi effort that Governor Tate Reeves put together. But you look back on this year, and it's really amazing, really, when you think about it, that a year has gone by. I mean, do you find yourself sort of in the quietness of your thoughts thinking, man, did time fly?
Oh, no doubt about it. This morning we had a meeting of the Gulf Coast Business Council, and Ashley made the comment that last March was probably the last in-person meeting we had, and he's thinking that next month may be the first in-person meeting we've had. So a year has passed, a little over a year, and it just seems like that it all just happened. But then again, you think through all the nuances of that. We as a company, just like all companies, completely changed how we conducted our business. And we had many men and women that they continued to work. The folks that are out there every day turning the lights on and generating electricity, and those folks continued to work their normal shifts. They had to completely readjust to make sure that they were following the COVID protocols, but they did that, and just like they did in all these other businesses, just like your business, Ricky. I mean, we used to do these in your studio, as you recall, and now here we are, and we're doing it a totally different way. And about 50% of our employees continued to work out there serving our customers. The other 50% conducted and continue to conduct their business just like this in a virtual way. And we're all finding a way to carry on our business as best we can. I know it's extremely challenging to some of our small businesses where they are so dependent on people walking in and doing business with them, and they have persevered. And matter of fact, I think most of them have done maybe even better than their peers across the United States. I just think it's some of the Mississippi stick-to-itness, but they have found a way, and they're going to make it to the other side of this thing. And it just makes you proud. It makes you proud to see how all these folks have found a way to survive and do well.
The amount of innovation that occurred across coastal Mississippi in terms of responding to the pandemic, I watch and I talk all the time about this, Anthony, but you think about the role the chambers played in being the conduit between all this information coming back about any kind of piece of information that could help a small business person. It could be, the Gulf Coast Business Council and the role that it played in being this incredible information conduit for businesses. It really helped. I mean, Lee Bond, from Singing River Hospital said that, we can never forget that America is a very productive country. And if you think about Mississippi, I mean, the key to our success as a state is that we need to have a thriving economy. So finding the right mix between the economic world and helping people feel safe, it's been really something to behold. And I'll have to tell you, I mean, we say that all the time on the show, that in the DNA of coastal Mississippians is the ability to bounce back. There's this resiliency, and certainly that came to bear. And I think about Mississippi Power, incidentally, Anthony, when you and I first started talking about the pandemic, it wasn't long after that in April, the Easter tornadoes came through, and here's your team out, dealing with that record tornado in the pandemic situation. And then, you fast forward other weather events, of course, ultimately Hurricane Zeta, but all the threats that we had prior to that. It was a really, really challenging year. And I think at the core of our response was that in our core DNA that we just assess the situation and we deal with it. And that's one of the most powerful attributes of being a Mississippian, don't you think?
I do. It's well said. Yesterday or last year was just an incredible chain of events in terms of just weather. I mean, on top of the COVID, we had one of our analysts actually go back and kind of sew together the number of days that we were either in a storm mode, in other words, returning power back on, or preparing to turn power back on. And it turned out, Ricky, 58 days last year we were in that mode. So literally 2 months out of the 12 months, we were engaged in storm restoration, which is, that's way out of the norm. And but our folks take that very seriously. It's the economy has a difficult time moving forward if they have no electricity. Think about our modern world. You and I have talked about this before. Nothing really happens without electricity. These devices that you and I are using right now, if we were unable to charge them or connect them into the wall, we wouldn't be having this conversation. So, every aspect of our lives now is directly related to electricity. So,
it is incredible. Important. This is Anthony Wilson, the Chairman, President, CEO of Mississippi Power. And when we come back, we're going to find out what's the latest at Mississippi Power these days. We'll get his view on the economic situation, and we'll just continue the conversation. We'll see you after this break.
View on SuperTalk 103.1 is brought to you by J. Allen Toyota on I-10 exit 38 Gulfport. See all the incredible inventory at allentoyota.com. And remember, when you think Toyota, think J. Allen Toyota.
Hey, South Mississippi, it's Jay Allen at Jay Allen Toyota, and I got something new for you for 2021. It's the Jay Allen Certified Collection. What that means is we selected our very best inventory with under 75,000 miles, and they're 6 years old or newer. That comes with a multi-point inspection, a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, and a 3-day buyback guarantee. So come check out the Jay Allen Certified Pre-Owned Collection right here at I-10 exit 38 in Gulfport or on allentoyota.com.
When COVID started, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply began stocking hard-to-find PPE items. When Amazon and other mega internet companies were out of stock or inflating prices, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply was providing local schools and businesses vital PPE supplies at fair prices. When your office needs PPE supplies, office furniture, or products to keep your business operating, consider Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply. We sell that too. Buy local.
SuperTalk Mississippi.
From outer space, visitors from another world. We've had contact with bug-eyed monsters.
This is actually a flying saucer.
Flying saucer?
I'm from another planet.
Where late nights are kind of weird.
Well, they must have a reason for their visits.
The unexplained, the weird, and the downright creepy. Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. Late nights. SuperTalk Mississippi. If Alexa's part of your life, you've got one more way to access SuperTalk. SuperTalk Mississippi is now available on Amazon Alexa devices. Once enabled, just say, Alexa, play SuperTalk Mississippi at any time and start listening. It's that easy. Just one more way to stay informed and connected with your state. Learn more at supertalk.fm/Alexa. SuperTalk Mississippi. SuperTalk Mississippi. Now available on Amazon Alexa devices. Feeling down? Here's your prescription for a daily dose of good news and positive vibes. Good Things with Rebecca Turner. Every afternoon, Rebecca highlights all the good things happening right here in the state you call home. Daily exposure to Good Things with Rebecca Turner may cause smiling, feelings of positivity, happiness, and even laughter. When you experience these symptoms, tell your friends to listen.
Okay.
Weekdays starting at 2 p.m. here on SuperTalk Mississippi and now on Amazon Alexa devices.
106.3 Casino Radio is here. Tune to 106.3 to discover all of our must-see attractions and everything that's happening at our 12 incredible casino resorts. Where to eat, where to stay, what to do, and where to play. 106.3 Casino Radio has you covered with everything you need to know to help make your visit here to the coast one you'll never forget. Turn on 106.3 Casino Radio or listen now on our website, casinoradio1063.com.
Talking to the people that help make the coast such a unique place to live. This is Coast View with Ricky Mathews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast View. We have Anthony Wilson with us today. He's the chairman, president, and CEO of Mississippi Power Company. He's a good friend of mine, a great friend to the show, and someone who really believes strongly and Mississippi, and especially coastal Mississippi as a region. And one of the reasons why we're so strong, why we are sort of the economic engine that drives the rest of the state, is because we have leaders like Anthony who are willing to volunteer an enormous amount of their time to help us build a stronger community. And Anthony, before we move to the economy, I want to come back to sort of the storm mode you talked about a second ago, because certainly we had our challenges. You had your challenges within your distribution area, but you also sent crews to multiple states, and you were reciprocating essentially the same kind of arrangement that you have when we have tough situations like Katrina, for example, where people came from all over the United States to help us. Kind of review that quickly, if you don't mind.
Sure. It's a unique arrangement amongst the utilities across the United States. It actually has a name. It's called mutual assistance. And basically what it means is if somebody, some industry, some utility gets hit, then the other utilities, if they are not engaged or involved in that weather event, we're gonna try to go help, and they do the same, and that's the way it works. And through that process, we went to last year alone. We went to Georgia, the Carolinas, Philadelphia, New York City, Texas, and Louisiana more times than I can count, because they sure had rough luck last year with storms. And then, of course, it all kind of culminated with Zeta here, and they all came to help us. So that's the way it works, and thank goodness that it does. Yeah.
Boy, thank goodness that it does. We're so lucky to have great leadership in your company and in other companies who recognize the importance of that cooperative arrangement that you guys have put together. So let's talk just a second about it. John and I had a detailed conversation about how well Mississippi has done relative to other states, especially here in coastal Mississippi, the way the casino industry came back, how the tourism numbers have really driven positive numbers for the state. What's your view on sort of where we are and where we're headed?
I think I agree with John. He and I talk about this often. I think the economy is coming back here. We took a hit like everyone else did, but I believe our economy was, I don't think we fell quite as far, for one thing. And then I think our bounce back has been a little bit quicker. I think some of that is through, Governor Reeves' leadership. He never completely allowed the state to shut down. Looking back at that was very wise, and that allows us to have our economy to have a running start at getting back to normal. And I think you're seeing that. One of the things we track so closely is build out in new buildings, both residential, commercial. And we're really beginning to see good growth here along the coast, and really across the state, but especially here along the coast. We're seeing great residential growth right here on the coastline. If you drive 90, you can see exactly what I'm talking about, and it really extends all the way from Bay St. Louis through Ocean Springs and further to the east to Pascagoula. So, that's encouraging. That tells you that people feel some level of confidence that they can begin the construction of maybe on their dream home or their home, and that the economy is going to allow them to do that without a whole lot of disturbance. And it hadn't been that way, Ricky. It hadn't been that way in a while. So confidence is the forerunner of action. And we're beginning to see that, and also we're beginning to see some of that in the commercial sector, which has really been a while for that. So I concur. I do think the economy is getting better. John touched on tourism, I'll just touch on that as well. If you look at the numbers on tourism, we did not fall nearly as far as just about all of our counterparts, which is terrific. I think people felt like they could continue to safely travel in to our area and enjoy all that we have here for folks to bring their families. And so that never completely stopped. It certainly slowed down, but it's coming back. I think people believe that hey, I'm tired of being at home. I'm tired of not allowing my kids to do anything at all. I'm going to take them to coastal Mississippi, and we're going to have a good time, and they're doing that. And I think our casinos are beginning to open up a little bit more. I think the aquarium has been a fantastic addition to our coast. Matter of fact, I was there Saturday with my family, and had an opportunity to just talk to people. And there were folks there from all over. We met a great family from Houston. They said, hey, coastal Mississippi is a pretty easy drive. We're going to go over and check it out. It was their first time to the coast, and they were having a great time. They were enjoying all that there is to offer here. And so, I think that's just one example, but I think there's many examples like that out there right now.
I had Mayor Billy Hughes on. Yeah, I had Mayor Billy Hughes on last week, and he said the numbers of the aquarium were just off the charts. They opened up, man, during the pandemic and then the hurricane. But we're beginning to see now that people can see the light at the end of the tunnel. We get a little spring break across, the South. The numbers, people are standing in line. I think he actually said sold out, which is really incredible. I hope that definitely continues. Hey, let's shift gears for a second. You guys have been involved in a grid modernization plan. And the other thing that I wonder about is we talk about the trends that were in place, technological trends and other trends that were in place due to the pandemic, before the pandemic, were sped up by the pandemic. I'm just kind of curious, how are you guys doing, and what trends do you see that might impact you guys either positively or negatively?
Yeah. Well, I think technology it's really beginning to be across our entire economy, and I think you would agree with that for sure, Ricky. And it's certainly moving across the utility sector. You mentioned grid modernization, and that's a great example of it. We now have the ability for our electric system to really switch itself without any human intervention, which is a huge deal in terms of how fast your power gets back on when somebody runs into a pole, for example, or lightning strikes, or any of those things. It's clearly not going to make the repair on that pole that's been struck by a vehicle. But what it does do is it isolates that incident. So customers on either side of it can get their power back much, much faster. And it's doing it in the realm of seconds. And the computer system, the technology is doing that. And our operator he's overseeing it. He's making sure that it's actually maximizing the number of customers that it can get back on. But all of that's happening behind the scenes, and those systems are called self-healing. So it's a self-healing system, and we're in process right now of spending about $700 million over the next 5 to 6 years. And the end result of that is about 95% of our customers will be behind a self-healing system when that's done. So technology, it's changing everything.
It is incredible. Hey, we don't have much time left, but I wanted to bring light to a couple of big promotions that you just announced. Tommy Murphy was actually my neighbor at one point, and know him very well. But why don't you tell about those two promotions that you announced?
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, Ricky. We had Fran Forehand, who was our Vice President of Customer Service Operations. All of our contact with our customers is in that organization, so it's a big job. And she moved back to Georgia Power. She moved from there several years ago, and she had an opportunity to go back for a promotion. And we had the opportunity to promote Tommy Murphy, who probably many of your listeners know Tommy Murphy. He's been He's been on the coast for years and years, does a fantastic job, has done a fantastic job for Southern Company and for Mississippi Power for years and years. He has taken over that role, so he's in the seat, and he's excited, and I'm excited to have him in that role. And we were able to recruit one of our own back to Mississippi, Mike Middleton, who grew up in Moss Point, graduated from Moss Point High School, went to Mississippi State, got an electrical engineering degree, worked for Mississippi Power for about 14, 15 years, and then moved to Georgia Power, our sister company, and worked there for, 5 or 6 years. And then I had we saw an opportunity to get him back home, and we were successful in doing that. So he's going to be taking Tommy Murphy's role as the coastal division manager. So two long-term Mississippians taking over key roles for us.
Well, it's good to see him. I think they're obviously both eminently qualified for those roles, and again, I know Tommy, so I think the world of him and his family. He's just he's a good man, and I remember when he used to work in IT or whatever at Mississippi Power.
Yeah.
He kind of worked his way up through the company. Just incredible to see people, pay their dues and learn the steps. And as I said at the beginning of the show, not necessarily worry about a year from now. Have a goal for a year from now, but then, man, do the best job you can here in this moment. That's the one difference you can make. Anyway, Anthony, It's been a pleasure to visit with you this morning. We're out of time, but I hope to get back to you sooner this time. It's a little bit too much of a gap since the last time we talked.
Yeah, we'll do that, Ricky. We had a lot of storms between, so we've been.
We sure did.
Both of us.
We sure did. This is Anthony Wilson, the chairman, president, and CEO of Mississippi Power. And when we come back, we're going to have a conversation with Chief John Miller from the Biloxi Police Department.
When COVID started, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply began stocking very hard-to-find PPE items to make our community a safer place. When Amazon and other mega internet companies were out of stock or inflating prices, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply was providing local schools and businesses vital PPE supplies at fair prices. They were even sending thousands of dollars of PPE supplies free to local schools in need with help from other local business leaders. The next time your office needs PPE supplies, office furniture, or products to keep your business operating, consider a local company that supports your ball teams, cheerleaders, and area homeless. Consider Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply, the local guys that keep your prices fair, your service and selection excellent, and your health our business. Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply. We sell that too. Buy local.
SuperTalk.fm has a new look and is more informative than ever with expanded Mississippi news coverage, the latest Mississippi weather, Mississippi sports, and of course, the talk that's important to you. Every show, every podcast, and every late-breaking story. Constantly updating the news the second new developments happen. All in one place. The new SuperTalk.fm.
106.3 Casino Radio is here. Tune to 106.3 to discover all of our must-see attractions and everything that's happening at our 12 incredible casino resorts. Where to eat, where to stay, what to do, and where to play. 106.3 Casino Radio has you covered with everything you need to know to help make your visit here to the coast one you'll never forget. Turn on 106.3 Casino Radio or listen now on our website, CasinoRadio1063.com.
Hey, South Mississippi, the future has arrived. It's 2021, and at J. Allen Toyota, we're here to serve you. Want to let you know that we have Allen's lifetime warranty on every new Toyota we sell. That also comes with Toyota Care. That's 2 years and 25,000 miles of complimentary maintenance. We have a great rental department. Our service department's ready to take care of your current vehicle. We're rolling out J. Allen certified pre-owned for 2021. You got to come to I-10 exit 38 right here in Gulfport. You're going to love what we have to offer. When you think Toyota, think Allen Toyota.
Hey, I'm Steve Azar, and you never know who or what you'll hear when I spend a Mississippi Minute with my friends. We are with the fabulous Norbert Putnam, as he played on so many hit records, you can't count them, and produced for some of the biggest acts ever. We got to talk Jimmy Buffett.
One day at breakfast, he says, I started a new song. He says, about a night and a day in Key West, I played a bar and I got drunk, and coming home, I stepped out of my flip-flop, and I just kept going. I stepped on a beer can. And the next morning, I'm up, and I'm hungover, and I'm trying to make a margarita. I got some shrimp boiling. I can't find the salt. I said, Jimmy, I kind of like that. And he said, yeah, I think I'll call it Margaritaville.
In a Mississippi Minute. Be sure to check out In a Mississippi Minute with me, Steve Azar, right here on your local SuperTalk Mississippi station, and now on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher.
For something new and unique in talk radio, take a listen to The Ben Shapiro Show. Every day, we're driving the debate in America with the fastest moving, hardest hitting, most comprehensive, fact-based commentary on the radio. We don't hold back. We never shy away from telling you the truth. Our show is a meeting place of ideas. We have the most important guests and the biggest thinkers in America.
Weeknights at 9.
For something new and unique in talk radio, take a listen to The Ben Shapiro Show.
On Super Talk, Mississippi. Super Talk, Mississippi.
Just seems to me people have so much invested in not telling the truth.
When you want the truth.
Simply because it might hurt some feelings.
And nothing but the truth.
Lose some subscribers.
You want the Gallo Radio Show.
I just think in this audience, you still believe that if you tell the truth, you come out ahead.
The Gallo Radio Show.
And if you tell yourself otherwise, you're lying to yourself.
Mornings on Super Talk, Mississippi. He's the former president and publisher of the Sun Herald, and now he's on the radio. Welcome to Coast View with Ricky Mathews on Super Talk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast View. I really enjoyed my conversation with Anthony Wilson. He's such a dedicated leader here in coastal Mississippi, and it's because of people like Anthony and John Hairston and others that we're able to constantly raise the bar and make sure that we're taking advantage of every opportunity in this community to build a better community. One of the things that I'm most proud of is that I take every opportunity I can to celebrate first responders. And I came across something the other day I just want to share with you, and it's I don't know what the source is, honestly, but it touched me, and it's from a proud police wife is the name of this, and here's what it says. My heart belongs to a police officer. I'm the girl always checking her phone. I'm the girl that will sacrifice a normal relationship because she loves a man who risks his life daily, works all hours, even holidays. Even when he's off duty, he's on duty. People hate him, and by association hate me. I'm not the only one that needs him. His whole jurisdiction needs him. I'm the girl that swells with pride when she sees her man in uniform walking through the front door after a long day at work. I'm the girl that double takes and triple takes when a police cruiser goes by. I'm the girl that closes her eyes and sends up a prayer to protect the man who protects many. I'm the proud woman behind the man behind the badge. I thought that was just terrific. And when it comes to that one line, incidentally, that says, people hate him and by association hate me. That may be true, but I would actually modify that here in coastal Mississippi that some people may hate him. Because the truth is, here in coastal Mississippi, we have a really good relationship between the community and our police departments. There's always going to be an exception to the rule from time to time. But as a general rule, we have incredible relationships with our police community here in coastal Mississippi. And one of the reasons we've got great leaders here. And one of them is my friend, the police chief of Biloxi, John Miller. John, did you, you heard what I read. And it is unfortunate that some people could hate a police officer. That's sad to think that, but it's true. There are a lot of people who stand behind a police officer with immense pride and support, isn't there?
There is, Ricky. There truly is, especially, and you made the point, where we live here coastal Mississippi, we have a good relationship with the community. It's not always perfect, and I'm sure there are some here that don't care for police officers for a multitude of reasons. But generally speaking, and what she said, that in other parts of the country may be very prevalent. Here, we don't have that. We enjoy a good relationship.
Yeah, you made the point when you and I last visited that your profession may be the only profession where something that happens 1,000, 2,000 miles away, a single event, could be projected on an entire force. Here, in your case, Biloxi. It's very unfortunate that that is the case, but I think the way you overcome that, and you talked about this in great detail the last time we talked, is the efforts that you take to constantly work on communicating with the community. That's really important to you, isn't it?
Well, it really is, and I think it's important to. I know the sheriffs and the chiefs, in South Mississippi, really all over Mississippi. That's an issue that has been discussed and rediscussed among law enforcement. We've changed some of the way we do things. Try not to be so matter of fact and try to relate with the community. And I'm doing community efforts to get out in the community and let people see, who we are and what we really. It's a profession in that it's misunderstood. I constantly get questions when I'm speaking different places about why do police officers do this or why did you do that? And most of the time, to me, I know immediately, that well, this is the reason we did it. But just to folks on the outside looking at what we do is confusing, and they don't understand the procedures that we put in to keep not only officers safe but the community safe. So it is a confusing business that we have.
Yeah, I know it can be challenging at times. Hearing you talk reminds me that the last time you and I talked, I actually described your leadership style in the face of challenge as calm and measured. And for people who are watching this on Facebook or YouTube or listening on 103.1 or on a podcast, they can appreciate that we need leaders like you who are involved. And, you didn't get there overnight. You worked really hard. You had a nearly 30-year career. Maybe now you've surpassed 30-year career at the Biloxi Police Department where you kind of worked your way up. And you probably, I was talking to Anthony Wilson about this in the last segment, but, I had the opportunity to grow up here and become publisher of the Sun Herald, and he had an opportunity to grow up in D'Iberville and become president of the power company. And, you had this long career in the Biloxi Police Department and became the police chief. That probably gives you immense pride, doesn't it?
It does. It does. I'm proud that I feel like a lot of the community have confidence in me, and I'm proud of that, and I'm proud of the men and women that serve with us. We've worked very hard, like the other law enforcement agencies along the coast. We worked very hard to kind of weed out that old way of thinking, and along with that went probably some people that could not adjust to the thing. You hear people say things like, he's old school. That's an old time policeman. Well, I think probably in the 80s and 90s, we kind of got away from really the old school policing. And I like to view it as we're kind of back to that now, where we're out, we talk to people, we listen to people, and it's not all, well, this is the job, this is how we're going to do, and that's all there is to it. We do take advice from the community and try to do things that we think are going to build those relationships.
I talk about this all the time, that there are certain sectors of, life here in coastal Mississippi that never had the opportunity to stop doing what they do, even in the face of the pandemic. So, you and I talked about this in good detail the last time, but the work you had to do to assimilate your force, to understand how to continue to do their job, and in a way that would make them safe and make the public safe. It's amazing now when you look back on this, that a year has gone by. I mean, a year has gone by and you've been in this mode. It probably just feels like normal operating procedure now, doesn't it?
Well, you know, a lot of it is. We've just adjusted to it like many professions have had to do, but in the profession you find yourself doing that quite a bit. We've adjusted to it. I would like to see some things go back, you know, but and eventually I hope that we get there, you know. But it was very challenging, and it was one of those situations where, you know, you're only going to please half the folks that you serve. You know, half are going to be with you and half are going to be against you. And not, when I say against you, not, you know, just upset about some of the things they're having to do, mask wearing and things like that. That's, you know, the cops kind of stuck in the middle. You know, we just try that we can do and try to convey to people, you know, that this is what we need to do right now.
So you know, again, in the world of your police department, life never stopped. You had to adjust and do things slightly different, but you still had a budget to manage. You still had policemen to train. A lot of training. You talked about this in great detail the last time we talked. What a police officer has to know to do his job is way different than used to hand a guy a gun and, you know, give him the car and say, go be a policeman. It's way different. You had to recruit, and you had a goal of making the police department even more diverse. So talk a little bit about how life has gone on for you in terms of just doing your day-to-day work.
Sure. Well, you said it, you know, the new things we had to deal with, but the normal operating procedures and the things that we have to normally deal with were never left. They were still there. You know, so we've had to make quite a few adjustments. We've had to do some rethinking and thinking outside the box, like with recruitment. Very difficult to recruit folks right now for police work. I believe that will get better in the near future. We're seeing movement there now, but that's been an obstacle that's been very difficult to overcome, and that's not just here on the coast. That is throughout the police work has become one of those things that's just not desirable. But we have seen some improvements there and some changes there. We've seen minorities that are getting on board now and want a career in law enforcement. And for a while, that was something that we had to really struggle with. And like with female, you know, it's always been a struggle to hire female law enforcement officers. Here in the last couple of years, that has really turned. We have as many female applicants as we do male applicants now, black, white, whatever their race. We have as many females as we do males, which is you know, not something that we expected to see.
That's terrific news, and you see that on the street. Biloxi these days. Hey, why don't we do this? We'll continue that part of the conversation, and then we'll move on to some other topics. This is Chief John Miller from the police department in Biloxi, and a good friend to Coast View, and we'll be back after this break.
You can also listen live to SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1 on your Amazon Alexa devices. Once you've enabled the skill, just say, Alexa, open SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast.
106.3 Casino Radio is here. Tune to 106.3 to discover all of our must-see attractions and everything that's happening at our 12 incredible casino resorts. Where to eat, where to stay, what to do, and where to play. 106.3 Casino Radio has you covered with everything you need to know to help make your visit here to the coast one you'll never forget. Turn on 106.3 Casino Radio or listen now on our website, CasinoRadio1063.com.
Hey, South Mississippi, it's Jay Allen at Jay Allen Toyota, and I got something new for you for 2021. It's the Jay Allen Certified Collection. What that means is we selected our very best inventory with under 75,000 miles, and they're 6 years old or newer. That comes with a multi-point inspection, a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, and a 3-day buyback guarantee. So come check out the Jay Allen Certified Pre-Owned Collection right here, I-10 exit 38 in Gulfport, or on allentoyota.com.
SuperTalk.fm has a new look and is more informative than ever with expanded Mississippi news coverage, the latest Mississippi weather, Mississippi sports, and of course, the talk that's important to you. Every show, every podcast, and every late-breaking story. Constantly updating the news the second new developments happen. All in one place. The new SuperTalk.fm. SuperTalk Mississippi.
It just seems to me people have so much invested in not telling the truth.
When you want the truth.
Simply because it might hurt some feelings.
And nothing but the truth.
Lose some subscribers.
You want the Gallo Radio Show.
I just think in this audience, you still believe that if you tell the truth, you come out ahead.
The Gallo Radio Show.
And if you tell yourself otherwise, you're lying to yourself.
Mornings on SuperTalk Mississippi.
When COVID started, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply began stocking hard-to-find PPE items. When Amazon and other mega internet companies were out of stock or inflating prices, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply was providing local schools and businesses vital PPE supplies at fair prices. When your office needs PPE supplies, office furniture, or products to keep your business operating, consider Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply. We sell that too. Buy local.
Hey, I'm Steve Azar, and you never know who or what you'll hear when I spend a Mississippi Minute with my friends. We are with the fabulous Norbert Putnam as he played on so many hit records, you can't count them, and produced for some of the biggest acts ever. Norbert, Elvis.
And I want to tell you about Presley. He had two different voices. He would sit and talk to me in a very calm, low voice. And we were at Stack's one night, and we were having lunch. We always had lunch at midnight because he was nocturnal. We sat there and we have our sandwiches, and at 1 o'clock, he looked up. He said, "Hey, Put, come on, it's time for me to go be Elvis." And he stood up, in a much deeper voice, he put on his macho voice. "Hey, fellas, it's 1 o'clock. Let's get cracking, okay?"
In a Mississippi Minute. Be sure to check out In a Mississippi Minute with me, Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi, Amazon Alexa, and now on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher.
Talking to the people that help make the coast such a unique place to live. This is Coast View with Ricky Mathews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast View. We have Chief John Miller from the Police Department in Biloxi, someone who, as I mentioned earlier, 30 years of working his way up through the ranks of the Biloxi Police Department, become the chief. And again, I just think he's a terrific leader and again, a good friend to the show. I mean, those numbers you were sharing before we went to the break about the number of women who are involved now, the number of applicants who are women, that is really good news. I know that's something that you really wanted to see. And also the point about minority applications, that's going up is a good thing as well. That's I'm really pleased to see that. And I think it's going to help the police department overall. Don't you agree?
I do. I really do. I know we've got a ways to go. It's still very difficult, but we are seeing improvements. And when I say difficult, we had something like, and I don't remember the exact number, something like 47 nations this past testing. And the way we do that is we do an agility test in the morning, and then we do a written test in the afternoon on the same day. So we try to get everything done on that one day. So we had, like I said, it was 40 some odd applicants. Only 17 showed up after making application. 17 showed up for the test. Out of that 17, when the day was open, we had 6 that had passed everything. Now, out of that 6, we'll have probably, percentages stay the way they have been. We'll have probably 2 or 3 that will not make it because of their background. So it's still very difficult. It's still very difficult. But we're certainly not going to lower our standards to get applicants. But we have seen improvement.
Hey, one of the things we talked about the last time we were on, and you can kind of update us on this, but that you were still dealing with this kind of a high call volume. And I think one of the statistics that you shared is that 70% officer initiated, which we'll explain to people why that's important. But I made the point that even in the neighborhood where I live, I see patrolmen come through more often than I used to. And I know that's a concerted effort on your part to get policemen into the neighborhoods, but talk more about that.
Sure. that 70% fluctuates a little bit depending on, what time of the year it is and what else we have going on, if there's any big events or anything like that. But right now, somewhere between 63 and 70% officer initiated. And, there was some studies back in the 70s that said a direct patrol really had no effect on crime. Well, that was a skewed study. We have proven that over and over and over. We know that if first of all, if the general public just sees police cars, sees officers out, they feel safer. We know that. And we also know that the criminal element tends to move on when they see, when they see a police unit or a police officer. They tend to move on somewhere else. We know that to be a fact. So being visible, being out and seen, we think is an extremely important part of police work. But you need policemen. You need a good many policemen to be able to.
Yeah. Okay. So the economy is starting to open back up again. So you'll start to see events starting to happen again. A spring break that's coming up soon. Does the possibility of people congregating give you heartburn, and what are you doing to think about it and plan around it?
Yeah, we have a standard event that we use for all events. Now we have to adapt that sometimes depending on what the event is, what location that event's going to be in. But we have a standard plan that we have put together many years ago, and then we have tweaked it, yearly. We tweak it, go back, and determine if there's some improvements can be made here or there. But the plan overall works very well. The problem this year is that spring break has split. And so we're going to have, I think probably what we'll end up seeing are 2 spring breaks this year. We're going to have one in April and then another spring break. And this is kind of the original spring break is scheduled for in August. The hub has always been the Coliseum. And the Coliseum, since the first spring break, the original spring break, decided to do theirs in August, then the Coliseum naturally, that's when the spring break is going to be. But we have some smaller promoters that are promoting spring break in April. So it's going to be very difficult for us, and it's going to be an overtime nightmare. It's going to burn a lot of our overtime to try to do both of these spring breaks. But they're neither one are city sanctioned. They're just both spring, like a lot of events, but they're just both going to be here, and we're going to deal with them. As far as large crowds, it does give me a little bit of heartburn right now, because I think we've got this COVID thing. I think we're on the downhill slide on this COVID thing. I'm certainly not an expert, but it appears that way. We're getting a lot of people vaccinated, which makes us feel good. So I would hate to have tons of people that could go back to what they could. So I would hate to have Biloxi. So we will do our best to make sure that the crowds are small and that they are socially distanced, and certainly we would like them to still wear masks.
Yeah. Well, we'll hope that is the case, and we'll face this with various events as we go forward. What's the best way to move forward in a safe way? And we all covet the light at the end of the tunnel. Hopefully, we'll get there sooner than later. But John Miller, Chief Police for the City of Biloxi, thanks for visiting with me this morning.
Man, it's always a pleasure. Thank you very much.
You bet, buddy. And take care. We'll see you tomorrow.
Follow SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1 on Facebook. Facebook.com/SuperTalk MS Coast 103.1.